Hey, you want some Vito's Pizzarelli?
I like pepinos.
Pepinos.
Who doesn't like pepinos?
Pepinos.
Well, hey guys, what's going on here? River Sullivan coming at you right here, right now. Pre-recorded for your live listening pleasure for yet again another episode of Season 3 of This Evening Tonight. As you know, I am your host, River Sullivan, but with me here yet again, for the first time, yet not the first time, for it seems like every time, the sultry sipping of coffee, Silver Fox himself, the man who always has a plan, and the legends amongst other whispers in the dark. Scott! Hello, Scott.
You all right over there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just trying to,
you just had this look of sadness in your eyes when you did the intro.
I try to go off the cuff, and sometimes it goes off the rails and doesn't work out very well. But also here joining with us this week again, guys, you may remember him, he had a stroke. You may remember him from, I believe it was Season 2?
Yeah.
When we had the magic of Dagohir and LARPing, my friend, the gentle giant himself, Mason. Hello.
Like, is it okay if I yell?
Oh yeah! I'd like to see if we can break out the diodes of these mics.
Sorry about that.
So welcome back, man. It's good to have you back here on the show.
It's good to be back.
Cover some ground. See what it is we missed in the good old LARPing community here since we last had you on. But before we get any of that started, let's get it started off right here so we can talk about this week's coffee, which is Barissimo's, a brand, I guess, owned by the Aldi's syndication. This is one of their Halloween roasts of Raven's Roast, an Ethiopian single-origin ground medium roast coffee. 100% Arabica coffee, which advertises as honey with vibrant fruit tones. Now, they say the flavors are supposed to evoke dried fruit, blueberry, and sweet candy notes. Is anybody detecting any of that?
Nada.
I'm getting a bit of a dried tongue. That's because this coffee's a little hot.
I mean, I actually think I actually like the flavor, though. Like, I think the flavor is really good. But I like their little description here for it. They say, as you wake from your midnight dreary, you faintly hear a tap, tap, tapping. Is someone at your door? As a sweet, fruity smell hits your nose, you realize the tapping is the drip, drip, dripping of your coffee pot, and nothing more. They would try to go a little Edgar Allan Poe with it. I like it. So, this is definitely better than the fire department coffee company we had last week.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this is actually one of my more favorite coffees. I actually place this above Lavazza and Bustelo and all those other ones. I put it as like almost third place for me. Because we had Kentucky Nose, then we had the Neebs in second. And I'm not quite, again, we need to get a dry erase board or something that we can have a standing. But this is like a third place. This is right under Neebs for me. Yeah, just put your gullet in that barrel.
I'm going to go the opposite way. Like, it's not a bad coffee, but I'm not getting nothing from it.
No?
Like, it's okay. Maybe I just have a scalded
I think,
tongue.
we disagree. You're a piece of shit. Get out. No, it's kind of,
fine.
I'm tolerant.
Calling him out.
You disagreed, and I'm intolerant, and this is tolerance. Get out. No, I'm just kidding. We're making fun of everybody that preaches about tolerance and then flips the script. No, see, we disagree. He doesn't. Yeah, it's not. It's not.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's coffee.
Like, I could just be wrong. Like, my taste buds could just be wrecked. I don't know.
I had a couple of people in my church that did that. Tolerance. Oh, tolerance. Oh, yay.
I'm so tolerant, but excuse me, I disagree with you.
Yeah.
You're wrong. You will die. You shall die a peasant's death.
You see a lot of things and see a lot of stuff like that in church groups themselves.
Well, I believe we call that the holier than thou mentality. Borderlines right next to on the property line of a superiority complex.
Now, I will say there are some groups out there that aren't like that. Have you ever heard of the Bikers for Christ?
Yes.
Yeah,
I know a couple of buddies that used to ride for them.
Yeah, they're a very enlightened group.
Mm-hmm. Well, they got the enlightened part of the Lord versus the street smarts, and know-how and road wisdom that comes with being a traveled biker.
Oh, yeah.
Dropping knowledge bombs today, Scott.
Just blowing my mind over here.
I know. I don't know how I feel about this microphone yet.
Let's let it ride.
Yeah.
See how it feels.
Sound good so far.
Yeah. So, like, because it's not coming back real hard in this at all. Like, it's weird. So that's why I'm talking extra loud. But anyway, moving on. So, Mason, since last time we had you here on the show, you were gracing us with some of the knowledge that we shared, and that you know definitely a hell of a lot more of it than I do, on the Dagohir or LARPing or live-action role-play scene in this part of the Mountain State. So, with it being, hell, almost, how long has it been?
Oh, it was sometime last year. I'd say about March or May. No. January of last year. Give or take.
Oh, the show is...
Because I came up here when it was snowing.
The Dagohir episode aired on YouTube 8 months ago. And that was originally aired, don't you start playing, February 12th, 2020.
Was it February? Yeah.
Was that season 2 or 1?
Season 2, episode 6.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Man, we're just rolling on the seasons now.
Oh, yeah. You're doing good, though.
It's hard for us to try to be not only, I guess, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? On time, on time with our uploads, punctual with an upload.
Right. But
and still talk about everything that we want to talk about and still have substance that we want to talk about.
You've been pretty good about putting out content, though. Like, I feel like you've put out ample amounts.
Yeah, it's usually a weekly thing. Oh, wow, that's a lot better. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I turned up my gain a little bit.
All right.
I'm really, oh, yeah. Oh, Daddy, I'm feeling it now.
Savory.
Oh, I'm a savory motherfucker. You're going to have to reel me in with a shepherd's pie. No hot fudge sundae. Oh, God.
I don't know where you're going, but I like it.
I don't know where you're going, but can you call in sick?
This evening tonight goes 50 Shades of Grey.
This evening tonight, curl up around the bullshit fireplace with River and Scott as their bodies intertwine. I mean, their conversations intertwine in one another. Put like some nice Christmas music today.
As they mentally join.
As their brains dock. To form a super big brain that will explode knowledge upon the internet. So anyway, Mason, what's going on here with Dagohir and LARP since we last saw you? I heard there were some developments here for the local area.
Well, as of August, which is usually about the time when, as of this month, which is usually about the time when, practices start dying down and everybody prepares for, like, the colder months in this area. Mm-hmm. I am no longer realm leader of Stormforge, nor is Stormforge a present entity in this area.
Yeah.
It's not a thing anymore?
No, unfortunately. However, the old realm, Oblivion, did decide to rise out of the ashes like a phoenix.
You just can't kill Oblivion, man. It's like a cockroach. It just keeps coming back like Jason.
And there's more of them. You turn over one stone and there's another. There's another.
I like it. It's the Hydra of the Dagohir environment. It's
the Hydra? You're being a little too nice there.
I mean, like I said, I haven't been in it and been around you guys a long time. I don't know all the politics of it going on. So, anything you want to share with us? Any juicy details?
You want me to get? I can't get back into around politics, man. It's just like a he said, she said kind of thing.
Yeah, there was some of that when I hung out with you guys here for a little bit on that, but it wasn't terrible in my opinion. Of course, I wasn't there all the time. It was just I made events when I could and what I could, but
yeah, it was just one hot mess after the other. And after Oblivion came back, there were some loose ends that needed tied up that didn't get tied up.
It sounds super serious.
Yeah.
Almost like Fight Club. It's happening right now.
It's pretty much like Fight Club, except, with foam swords and, I don't know, dick jokes.
I could see this in my, oldest's future sometime because, he's really into any type of fantasy costumes, and he has his foam swords and shields and stuff, and Yeah.
Who is this?
My oldest.
Who were they in this kind of scene before? Or?
No, they're just a kid.
Okay.
He's like Yato.
Young one.
Yeah.
Not the younglings.
But like him and my youngest, like they had an epic battle in the backyard, and it was great. It was like medieval meets cat masks and swords and Nerf guns. It was pretty epic.
That's the birth of a new LARP game there.
Yeah.
Wild West with swords. Just something like that.
It was his crossbow.
But yeah, that's about it. That's about all I have for right now.
Okay. So, staying within the same vein of everything here that we're talking about in the lovely world of live-action role-playing and role-playing in general, keep your minds out of the gutter, people. So there's a couple things that we wanted to talk about here on the show that I thought would be interesting, that we kind of meshed it together and made some comparisons and see where one might have drawn inspiration from the other. So with that, me and Scott last week, we were talking about how I just made the purchase into the Elder Scrolls Online. Mm-hmm. And Scott had bought it when it first came out, and it had boatloads of issues. It was like you try to play the game, and there was just players everywhere just sitting around farming. Like you'd have to try to do a mission and kill something, and these players would come in, just destroy the area, kill all the enemies to get their XP, and you'd have to sit there and wait, and you couldn't progress. But long since it came out, they have since fixed it, and it's been a wonderful game. So, to start, we wanted to create the comparisons and talk a little bit about the Elder Scrolls and its history, and something that I believe that drew heavily from another. You have Dungeons & Dragons, that also I believe drew heavily from a man named Tolkien. Mm. So, a brief history on such, just for dates, we'll say Dungeons & Dragons, and I'm going off the wiki here. It first made its appearance by TSR, the publisher of Wizards of the Coast, in 1974 was the first one. And then you had the Elder Scrolls that came out by Bethesda Softworks in 1994 with their first game, Elder Scrolls Arena. And, wow, it came out on MS-DOS. Mm-hmm. Remember that? I'm looking at a screenshot of it. It's, wow. All of the Mages Guild in the snow, and it was it's like one guy, and it's pixelated, all the shit.
It looked like Doom. It
looks like Doom.
Like I've never personally played it. I've heard that you can't even. It's a rare occurrence for it to even run on a computer now without crashing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Doom.
No. The Arena.
Let's see here.
Doom probably too, though. I think they were all DOS games back at that time.
Doom, I've seen people playing on calculators.
You know, I don't know this for a fact, but if you look at the dates, I would assume that that's probably when a lot of like the Bethesda developers.
It said
like they were probably kids from the 70s,
they were
80s.
Huge. It said, according to the wiki, they used the term huge aficionados of D&D. So here's what we're gonna do. I could just sit here with my fat ass and read from the wiki, or I can consult my two regional authorities, which is you two.
Makes me an authority.
You know a lot more about the Elder Scrolls universe than I do. Despite the fact I play a lot of games, you retain a lot more of it than I ever did. But so to bring everything together to start, we had J.R.R. Tolkien, who most people know was the original writer of the Hobbit series and Lord of the Rings series. Yes. The Hobbit wasn't really a series in the book. It was one goddamn book.
But you also have to think of back before that, the
Silmarillion. And they're actually, Peter Jackson's making movies of those, which if he does it the way he did the other ones, each movie will be like 19 hours long. I know for a fact because I own the Director's Cut Lord of the Rings series. And if you took the time to watch all three of just the Lord of the Rings, not counting the Hobbit movies, it's like 12 hours. Because I know Return of the King, the Director's Cut, is 5 hours long. Because Peter Jackson just was like, all right, page 1. All right, we got to build a set. We do that. Okay, millions of dollars. All right, no, okay, we made it to page 2. Like, I swear he just opened the book and just said, that's the script. And he just handed everybody the book and said, that's the movie, start to finish.
You have to agree, though, that he did that. He made it amazing.
He did. I have huge respect for Peter Jackson for doing that. But so the brief history here, real rundown. I'm not going to read all this off. Chances are, if you're tuning into this anyway, most listeners will probably know a little bit more than I do. So J.R.R. Tolkien was from Britain. He was enlisted in the British Army from 1915 to 1920 during the First World War. And apparently, he had written, like The Hobbit, during World War I.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in the 1920s, he did a translation. He did the translation for Beowulf. Took him 6 years to do it, but he never published it.
I believe he wrote The Hobbit based on his experiences while he was during World War I.
Yeah.
So some of the stuff you see in there might be stuff from like battles he fought or places he'd been or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that book was written during World War I, and then you have clear out from then to the 70s that people have been reading it and reading like everything else that he wrote. We had things start to spawn out of that, like D&D back in the 70s. So, Mason, what's your history impressions of Dungeons & Dragons? And for those people like myself who've really never played, why don't we figure it out? Explain it to me a little bit.
Where would you like to start?
That's up to you, good sir.
All right. Well, as you said, Dungeons & Dragons came out in the early 70s. Originally came out as a game called Chainmail, which spawned into Dungeons & Dragons. Nowadays, you see Dungeons & Dragons in popular media such as Stranger Things. There's a series on called Critical Role, which they do it off the more modern edition, 5th edition. You also have like Not Another D&D podcast, stuff like that. And it's basically become a worldwide phenomenon.
Mm-hmm. Because layman's terms, my understanding is, for somebody, again, that's never played, we design a character. Each person would design a character of their own, and they figure out how to make him. But then you have the Dungeon Master, who I understand some of these Dungeon Masters will spend days, weeks, months, and even years crafting a story that my understanding is some of these crafted stories by the Dungeon Masters have actually gone on to become books. Because there's so much care played in it. I think that's how, was it Christopher Paolini got his start? Because when he wrote Eragon, the first Eragon book, he was 15 years old.
Possibly. I haven't really looked too much into any literature published by people who...
Have you ever read the Eragon series, though?
I have not, unfortunately.
Jesus. I have the hardbacks right here if you would like to borrow them.
I probably will be giving
I will let you borrow the first book, and then when you bust a nut from all that fantasy awesome detail, I'm telling you, he's amazing. Anyway, amazing writer.
I will tell you that I did watch the movie, and I was not as easily impressed.
Quick thing about that movie, Paolini did not approve that. The people pretty much stole it from him, and he said, and I quote, "If you go and see this movie, I will not write a second book." And that movie tanked because they ripped everything off from him. And like the way the dragon was, the books cover was it Saphira was the dragon, covers her growth for like years. She doesn't just like grow up overnight and then have it. Yeah, it's bullshit. That movie's just complete and utter shit.
No, yeah, I believe it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it myself either. I mean, it's a good. I mean, in some comparisons, you would look at it and go, "Yeah, no, this is a terrible movie. This is shitty special effects and stuff like that." And it really did. It really did have shitty special effects.
Well, the movie didn't have anything to do with the scepter, like when they had John Malkovich in there, and the king hadn't had his scepter, and he's like, "Oh, my scepter, where is it?" I'm like, this piece of shit. I was mad watching that movie.
Yeah. All right. Now back on topic. Yeah, but no, there are DMs who will spend pretty much most of the time planning a campaign before they play the campaign.
Yeah.
But there are pre-written campaigns out there, released by Wizards of the Coast. One of the more famous ones for all you Halloween freaks out there is The Curse of Strahd, which, the spoiler alert, is the main big bad evil guy, or BBEG, is Strahd, who is a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of follow off that vampire dynamic from that.
Okay. And so people can just kind of go out and find these, or they're all distributed through them, or
you can find these books in like game stores or places like that. You can look online.
So you can pretty much purchase like a preloaded, pre-made story if you don't want to take the time to make your own.
Yeah.
Huh. That makes it convenient.
Which, I mean, you kind of look at those and go, oh, these are enjoyable. And then you get the core books, which there's the Player's Handbook, Xenothar's Guide to Everything, which has its own set of rules and update to everything. Update to the rules from that point on.
From what I understand, the chainmail, the OG chainmail was like the original rules system that was established.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, then you have the Player's Handbook, the Dungeons Master's Guide, those are the two things you need to look for. But you have the Dungeon Master's Guide, which states, and I'm just going off of this. I'm just rambling at this point. But Rule 0 is the DM sets the rules.
Okay.
And that is true. The
Dungeon
DM,
Master is God.
Dungeon Master is God. You cannot disobey Dungeon Master. Whatever Dungeon Master says goes.
Okay. So we're going to swap over here to the other DM. My friend Scott.
What'd you got for me?
Well, I just figured we give Mason a break there to let his brain catch up with his tongue or vice versa.
Oh, my.
Take a breather, buddy. It's good. So Skyrim and Elder Scrolls and all that we usually mention a lot having to do with Skyrim.
The world that is Tamriel.
The world that is Tamriel. And like we talked about, the Elder Scrolls originally come out in not the 70s, I'm sorry, 1994 with that Doom-esque thing on MS-DOS that it made.
Correct.
So you had mentioned something, though, because Skyrim definitely draws heavily, and the Elder Scrolls in general draws heavily on Tolkien and D&D because it has a lot of that RPG element to it. Instead of rolling dice and turn-based, it's very live action, happens in real time, which I really enjoy because when it comes down to my games, I really lean more towards a real-time action adventure kind of title, which is the best part that I like because Skyrim seems to draw and Elder Scrolls seems to draw from the handcrafted stories that you get out of Dungeon Masters and D&D, but it meets that modern time action that we get out of video games. So, what is it you'd like to share with us about, what is it, Skyblivion?
Skyblivion. Did we talk about this last time?
We were going to talk about it, but we ran out of time.
So, apparently, and I'm not even sure this is complete, but someone or a group of people have began remaking Oblivion in the world of Skyrim. You know, of course, with better graphics, better mechanics, and all that.
So they're taking the existing Skyrim map and adding to it, or just remapping it?
No, like from what I saw, and I could be wrong, all from a YouTube video, they're building it in the world of Skyrim. Like they're just literally changing the map into Oblivion.
They're like overlaying and
yes, but since it's like a small group of people self-funded, that it's really taking some time.
Now you've played Skyrim, correct?
I get all the references.
Mm-hmm.
I have enough knowledge to hold my ground, but not for long.
So you've not played Skyrim?
I have not played Skyrim.
Oh.
I have played Bethesda's other game, Fallout.
Okay, so let me put this in perspective because when me and Scott were working midnight shifts together, he was the one that got me on Skyrim. And I'm going to paint this picture for you. You're on top of a snow-capped mountain. God damn it.
Sorry. Corona, man.
Get your Corona cough in check. On a snow-capped mountain. Known as...
Excuse me. Sorry about
known only as Winterhold. With the mages of Whiterun. The mages school. Which you go to and you learn how to be a mage anyway. And as I approached the rocky stone-like bridge to make my way into my own tower, as I was now the Thane of Winterhold and the leader of the College of Magic.
Winterhold
Shadow.
Sucks.
Magic?
I loved it. That was my favorite spot. That big tower, I love that. Like, when I could live there, when I moved there, I could do it. All right, anyway. And then a shadow flies over you. And what was it? And the music starts kicking up, and you're like, oh, shit. And it was a guy, dragon. Big-ass dragon. And what do? I pull out the sword Dawnbreaker from my hand touching the beacon of Meridia, that you are whisked 70,000 feet into the air when you complete that quest to be given Dawnbreaker, this unbreakable sword of light that has the glowing pulsar of a dying star inside the hilt. And I yelled at the dragon, "Behold, dragon! For I am the Thane of Winterhold, and I am the wielder of Dawnbreaker!"
And then you die like a bitch.
No, I kicked its ass. Like, that moment in that game for me was just off the charts awesome. Like, it had every element that I always wanted in that just medieval style fantasy setting. I loved it so much, and I love it to this day, to where I was so happy to get Elder Scrolls Online. I've only played it like one time for a few hours, and I want to get back into it. I've just been so damn busy. But started all over again. Battle Mage, that's all I'm doing. Got me a Breton. Looks like kind of like normal dudes, but they're more inclined to magic. And I'm already calling down lightning strikes, ice walls, firewalls at level 4. Love it! Anyway, Scott, Sky Oblivion. Looking forward to it. Is it on PC only, I'm guessing?
Probably. I don't know. Like, it's just, I saw the video.
Because I know that...
I don't think it's done yet, or if it's ever going to be done. I just know they were working on it.
Do they have like a website? Can we crowdfund this thing?
I mean, yeah, actually, I think they did at GoFundMe. But hey, it's that time.
It's about that time, huh?
Yeah, I feel bad. I feel horrible.
Kind of sucks when somebody burps in your ear and you're trying to talk to.
Fine, I'm leaving.
No, that was me. That was me. Come on.
No, seriously, I got to get out of here.
All right.
All right.
Well, guys, Scott has to take off, and we're all out of time. No, I'm just kidding. Scott had to take off here. Bye, Felicia. So it's just going to be me
I'm
and
sorry
Mason.
to leave you hanging, man.
Hello.
Nah, it's okay.
I want to be late as it is.
Well, how about to discuss more Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Take me down this rabbit hole of which I know nothing about.
Welcome down the rabbit hole, my friend. Welcome to D&D. Jesus, man.
Get a lot of warmth on this microphone.
Uh-huh. Well, welcome down the rabbit hole, and prepare to not be the same with your money ever again, because...
Real quick, I like how your voice changed to like a smooth jazz DJ. Like, hey there, my name is Mason. Welcome down the rabbit hole, and here we are about to roll these dice and show you how much fun you can have with 20 sides.
Oh, yeah. No.
I'm going to show you my tetrahedron.
All right, let's start with the basic set of rules. I already told you about Rule 0. The DM sets the rules. Mm-hmm. That is the biggest one. You can't just go to any DM's. You can't just go to any DM's table and the rules be the same. Every DM has a different table with a different set of rules.
But they all go by the same rule. DM is daddy.
Yes. DM is Big Daddy. Like, if, for instance, if you're sitting at some DMs will run, you got to have like certain spell components for spells. I run with like, okay, you can have no spell components for all these spells except this one and this one.
So they set like limiters on different things you can and can't do, it sounds like?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you mean, like spell restrictors or anything like that? Like,
okay, so spells basically either require components or a ritual.
But each spell requirement it's like a component, ritual, like there's a mana pool, I'm guessing?
Not necessarily. There are spell slots.
But each one in the creation of your character, you will establish the values for that. So it comes down to basic math. So if you want to cast something that costs X, you have to roll the dice to then try to get within a set number value to achieve what you want to achieve.
Don't you speak that college speak around me. I'm a high school graduate.
I've been to college. I'm just trying to make, like, this is how my brain works. Like, that's how I go from point A to point Z by listing out every step, and it drives my fiance crazy.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, so let me put it like this. Okay, so say you have a level 1 wizard. Oh, I'm a level 1 wizard. I can do almost anything. I have low health. Anything could kill me.
What is he saying? Oh, why is Shaft a wizard? Hey, motherfucker. I'm going to cast fireball on your ass.
So you have a level 1 wizard. A level 1 wizard can learn up to 3 cantrips plus 2 first level spells.
Okay.
So cantrips are basically stuff that you can cast over and over and over again, and it won't get depleted. Now, when you have the spell slots, like a first level spell slot, you only have 2 slots that you can use those 2 spells.
Mm-hmm.
So, say I want to cast Magic Missile. I cast Magic Missile, I lose that spell slot, I can't use it again until I take like a long rest or a short rest. And once I use that other spell slot, that's it. I can't cast any more spells except for cantrips. I can't cast any more spells of that level.
You know what? Thinking about all that makes me think about, it's almost like coding. Because you have to establish values and parameters to be able to do certain things, and some things have a cooldown, some things don't. But if you don't have it written right or you don't execute the command right, like the spell, it won't work right.
I have small brain. Don't confuse my small brain with your big brain.
I feel like Zach Galifianakis from like Between Two Ferns. Like, I feel like I'm misunderstanding what you're telling me, but I feel like I am at the same time.
I get the coding reference, but
I'm analytical as fuck, man. Like,
you make it far in some places.
It's just how my brain works. I'm like, I try to dissect everything. Like,
But yeah, basically that's how you work with spell slots. Now, if you want to do like some of the higher level spells, you have to level up to get those higher level spells.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a level 2 wizard. I can do level 2 spells. I'm a level 3 wizard. I can get level 3 spells, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
And you can cast, say you want to cast spell at first level, at 9th level, you just increase that damage by however many dice it says to increase it by.
Okay.
Are you okay? Did I break you?
No. I'm running numbers through my head and like translating all this. I'm understanding it. So does everything in the game though? Is it all based on the numbers? Like, I know that you have options just to talk to your non-player characters or anything like that. What determines, say, you want to go to the tavern and romance a wench or convince a shopkeeper to lower the price on something?
That you would have to make what's called a charisma check. So you have 6 ability scores, which include strength, intelligence, dexterity, wisdom, constitution, charisma.
Yeah, what's constitution?
So constitution is basically like I have a strong stomach, or I can take on poison and only take half the damage from that poison.
Okay.
Yeah. Constitution is basically what you eat and what you devour and what your body fights. It's your immune system.
So the higher the constitution, the more risk you can put your body at, I guess?
Yes.
Okay. I'm learning.
But not too much risk. There are some things that can kill you, even with a high constitution.
So just don't eat shit.
Don't eat shit.
That applies not only in game, but in real life.
Yeah. I mean, you could have a constitution score of the max is 20, say 20, and you have to make a constitution saving throw, which you could fail.
And this is all based on the roll of the dice?
Yes.
Okay.
When you make ability score checks, you do it with a D20, which is essentially, for people who aren't familiar out there with a D20, it's a 20-sided die.
Is that the highest they make them?
There is something called a D100.
I imagine it's a little bit bigger than a normal...
No.
No?
No. So it's like a 10-sided die with the numbers, the numbers labeled 10 through 000.
Uh-huh.
So it goes 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then so on up to 00. Which 00, which you take a D100 and a D10, you roll them both.
And then it's multiplication on that.
No, it's just simple addition.
Addition, yes.
Yeah. 3 zeros is essentially 100.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if I roll a 90 on the D, a 90 on one, and a 2 on the other, I got 92.
Okay. It all makes sense.
Yeah.
So is like 20 like your highest factor though on average for like an attribute, or?
20 is the highest you can roll, but you can get higher scores once you add in like your ability scores. So if I have a constitution of 20, I add plus 5 to that. I add plus 5 to my roll. So it'd be like make a constitution saving throw. Okay, I got a 20 massive pass. It's a 25.
Okay. So it's just adding that base 5 onto whatever number you roll.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. See, I'm glad that we're having this conversation here now, then, because I know you've been wanting me to play a game, and I actually do want to.
I know it's a timing thing.
Adulthood, man. I don't like adulting right now because it seems like we don't have time for anything.
Yeah. Listen, I'm running 3 games at once. You think I have time to run all of them?
Fiverr. I don't know. You hire a DM on Fiverr. I wonder if that's a thing.
But yeah, there are also D&D podcasts out there you can listen to kind of have a feel on what goes on. I mentioned 2 earlier, Critical Role and Not Another D&D podcast.
I think, was it the buddies of mine listened to one that's like Sword and Scale?
Yes, that's another one.
They do a lot of D&D, but then they also do, which in the pecking order of stuff, that's where this show kind of falls through the cracks, because a lot of these they have a niche, they have a base. I think the highest one right now is like true crimes, like for genres is like true crimes, and then following that is like conspiracy theories, politics, and then there's like D&D in between somewhere in like those top 4 or 5, and that's like the bulk of them. Mm-hmm. I mean, you think about any of the major podcasters out there, like I said, I don't really listen to them, but I catch some snippets on a few of them on occasion, like going through YouTube. Yeah, that's the crux of this show is like we'll talk about this and fall in with the D&D genre for one episode, but then we hit political conspiracy theories and stuff like that on like the previous one that will be out. It'll be out last week when this one comes out. God, like we're plugging small businesses. Like we don't really fall in anything right now. That's been I know the hardest part for this show is trying to get our numbers up, just because we don't stick to anything.
How are your analytics looking?
I actually just pulled them up, and we are looking pretty good. It keeps updating me every 30-day period, and like last month from August 21st to September 20th, we had 94 downloads. This month, we're up 610%. From September 20th to October 19th, at 668. Right now, other countries are actually coming into play on this. Like, we hit well over the 1,000 download mark here in under a year, just in the U.S., and now... yeah, we're at 1,234 in the U.S., and then second place, which is adding up to over 7%, is France. I don't know what's going on. They're in triple digits now for the French. I guess the French really like us. And then following up, we got Germany, the Netherlands, the UK. We had a couple other countries that I didn't see on here. There was Australia, Canada, Hungary, Malaysia, Sweden, Japan, and Malaysia's a new one, and then Romania. That was our newest one last time. But yeah, Malaysia. I just keep thinking of Zoolander anytime I hear Malaysia, where it's like, "Kill the Prime Minister of Malaysia!"
All right, back on topic here. Now, ability scores. Now, those can also decide what happens to you in game, but they also are based on your class. The classes are, if I start in alphabetical order, you start with Artificer, then you go Barbarian, Bard, Cleric, Druid, Fighter, Monk, Paladin, Ranger, Rogue, Sorcerer, Warlock, and Wizard.
Jesus.
Plus, there are some famous ones out there that are kind of like off the books, like Blood Hunter or Gunslinger. If you want to do like a kind of Wild West sort of thing.
So yeah, D&D is pretty much also no longer just restricted to that genre, I understand. I guess there's other versions of it out there where they have, like, there's like a zombie apocalypse version that I heard of. Can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. But then there's like a Western style. Like it's pretty much the premise it's a create your own adventure on a mass scale in a small room. Yeah.
So essentially, those are called homebrew campaigns, which they're campaigns that these are DMs that make them by their own rules, set up their own kind of thing, stuff like that.
Yeah. But I have a lot of respect not only for the originality and the thought process that goes into just say D&D, but then the homebrews is people say what they want about this, but at the end of the day, there's one thing that you cannot deny in it is that it's keeping our imaginations alive and well, and anything that you think you can make a reality in this set piece that is D&D and the other variations.
Mm-hmm. Now, okay, let me do something like this. Pick a fantasy creature off the top of your head, and then pick one of the classes I just aforementioned to you, if you can remember them.
Chupacabra.
Let's not go with that. That is a hard monster to stat.
You said any.
Okay, one of the fantasy, not a cryptid, one of the like a dwarf or elf or.
All right, dwarf.
Okay, you want to go dwarf? Okay, okay. Now pick a class.
Bard.
Okay, you want to be a dwarf bard.
The singing dwarf.
Okay, so as a dwarf bard, your abilities' main focus are in charisma, and I think wisdom. Yes, wisdom, charisma, and wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as a bard, you can go around playing music. You have proficiencies in like musical instruments.
I
stuff
feel like in a company, he's more like a buff.
Yeah. He can be a buffer, or as we get in further into this, at subclasses, he can be an attacker, which you have the bards go through colleges.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the College of Swords, the College of Secrets, the College of Whispers.
And this is all just for a bard?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Every class in D&D has a subclass. So if I was a barbarian, I would take the subclass of Totem Warrior, and from Totem Warrior, my totem would be a bear.
So what is that like? Is that like a familiar, like a summon or something? Or
it's basically just a totem. It's something I wear on me. It's something that protects me. Stuff like that. Now with a bard, you can go into a bunch of different subclasses, which are aforementioned: secret, whispers, lore, swords, and glamour. Now glamour is one that a lot of people go for because, backstory-wise, your bard has been taught to play music by the Fae, which are completely...
I'm guessing has power.
The Fae are kind of like, like our world fairies.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Which are there's Unseelie and Seelie.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get into more of that later.
I have watched Carnival Row on Amazon.
Oh, that's a good movie. Orlando Bloom does good.
That's a series, man. That's not just a movie.
I know. I call movies series. I call series movies for some reason.
That really long movie.
I'm taking after my parents. They do the same thing.
It's like, hey, what time is that on Netflix, son? Okay, boomer.
Don't do that. My parents are 60.
So am I.
Oh, jeez.
They're almost 70 now, but they're getting up there. But yeah.
All right, so back into this. So say you want to make a bard, a dwarf bard, right?
Yes.
All right, so like I said, your biggest hits are charisma and wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Or hang on, I have it. Dexterity and charisma. My apologies. Dexterity is kind of like your agility and stuff like that.
Nimble little minx.
Nimble. And a dwarf too.
Mm-hmm. Short, stubby legs. Low center of gravity.
Now, mechanically, you could have all your dwarfishness maxed into strength and then charisma, but mechanically, he would just be a buff, charismatic, ugly little dwarf going around. Hey, laddie, how you doing? Hey, wench, I'm taking you with me home tonight. So mechanically, like I said, you would be buffed. Now, if you were to take your strength and lower it down below 10, 10 is when you start going negatives on your ability scores. So he would start to be like a little bit more slender.
Mm-hmm.
A little more slender. He would lose all that muscle mass and just be, kind of like...
Instead of Gimli the dwarf, he's Gangly the dwarf.
He's Gangly the dwarf, yep. He looks like Scott.
Oh God, I want to make that into a picture.
No offense to you, Scott, if you're listening to this afterwards.
Oh, he always listens because he likes to hear what I do with the editing. Because every week when we record an episode, he's like, I don't know how I sound like an idiot, but then I do my magic and make everybody sound smart.
Oh yeah, right. So that's kind of how ability scores work. You can use them to your advantage, or you can use them, or they become your disadvantage.
Okay.
Now, I have seen people make some funny mix-ups here and there. Mm-hmm. Some joke characters. One of my favorite is a Loxodon rogue.
What's a Loxodon?
A Loxodon is an elephant person. Think of it. Okay, let me think here.
Like a furry. You're like, God, no, don't put that title on it, please. Oh, yes, furry.
Okay, think of a minotaur.
Okay.
It's kind of like that.
But with a trunk.
Yeah, human body, elephant head.
Okay.
Human
so kind of like a reverse minotaur.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of.
Human body, animal top.
Yeah, a Loxodon stands at probably about 7 or 8 feet high, and a rogue their class is based on being sneaky and dealing lots of hidden damage and other stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
This guy made this Loxodon rogue hide in a room before he ever met his party, and as soon as his target came in the room, he surprise attacked him and delivered a catchphrase. Nobody ever saw the elephant in the room. This was one of my guys, by the way, that I was DMing for. And he said,
"You son of a bitch."
I looked at him and I said, "Is that really what you're going with?"
Yes.
If you want to do this, we can do this, but we're not gonna do this.
Well, that comes to another thing then. Because, guys, we are pretty much all out of time here for this episode, and just like Mr. Mason here said, that we haven't even really scratched the surface on this, and I definitely want you to come back, but I have lined up as well. I have another friend of mine that would like to come on the show as well, and he is also a very huge D&D aficionado himself that runs his own campaigns.
Well, you're definitely going to have to get another microphone in here then, or Scott and I can share one.
Yeah, that'll, I have the accommodations. I have a fourth mic. I just got to get a boom arm. Yeah, definitely. I'll definitely get you back here on the show, and we can hit this up for an extended part 2.
Oh, yeah.
But all right, guys, like I said, that's all the time we have here for this evening tonight. I am your host, River Sullivan, and with me was Scott. As you know, Scott did have to leave. Also here with me, Mason of the Dagohir LARPing fame and D&D fanfare.
I love you all.
There you go. But don't forget all the other different ways you guys here can listen on the big old pile of everything we got going on now. We got your Amazon, TuneIn, iHeart Radio, Stitcher, Spotify, Sounder, Google Podcasts, and iTunes. And also don't forget the YouTube if you want to have the BS fireplace crackling in the background there on whatever screen it is you're watching. Don't forget also to check out the merchandising store here at shop.spreadshirt.com/TET show. But all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for tuning in. And until we see you here next time on the show, peace out.